Hey there and welcome back to XCOM. My name is Pete and today we complete a mission that we already anticipated near the end of the last episode, because today it is once again time to go head to head with EXALT, as in just a few moments we will attempt to extract our covert operative Rosilius for the second time in this playthrough. Before we do that, however, we can make use of the fact that it is a new month and we have some cash to spare, so let's head over to the foundry where we can purchase the scope upgrade. For 75 credits, this will improve the usability of the scope further, as it will now not only give a plus 10 aim bonus, but also a plus 10 bonus to critical hit chance. This is certainly not a game changer, but for an item that at least our snipers are using anyway, I would say it's a very useful bonus, and for a price tag of 75 credits it's not too expensive.
The foundry is already warmed up. I'll make sure to notify you as soon as production is finished.
Thanks to the beam weapons research credit we unlocked in the last episode, it will also only take 4 days to make the upgrade available, so we won't have it on our next mission, but for everyone after that. And with that we are now ready to start scanning, which should, as I said, bring us to the next covert operation. However, as you can see, Andrea is still undergoing gene modification, and that process will technically not finish until after the covert operation. So if we start scanning here, we will now be prompted to launch said operation and send in our extraction squad, but thanks to the way these operations are handled, we can actually afford to wait a few days. I'm not exactly sure what the time window is, but it is fairly generous, so we can postpone the extraction and wait for Andrea to finish things up in the gene labs.
We are on the threshold of a new kind of warfare. Our soldiers were already humanity's best warriors. Now, as we learn from our fallen enemies, we can make their strengths our own.
And here we are, we have unlocked our very first gene modification, and with that also the a little bit alien achievement. Andrea now has a secondary heart, meaning that unless very specific circumstances are met, she will not be able to suffer an instant death. And with both the modification and the achievement out of the way, I would say we can now launch our operation. Last time we had a data recovery mission, today it's an extraction, which is in some aspects the opposite of the data recovery. Instead of defending an encoder and a transmitter against EXALT, we are now the ones doing the hacking, but you'll see that for yourself soon enough.
Excellent. We look forward to seeing your progress.
Now, at the end of the last episode, we purchased a few new items we unlocked as a result of the autopsies we did, and since everyone except for Nicholas has 2 item slots available, I would say let's equip some of those new items. And we start things off with our gene-modified Andrea, who will get rid of 1 pair of frag grenades and instead equip 2 needle grenades. These have a much wider blast radius but do not penetrate cover, but depending on the situation we find ourselves in, they might be very useful. Up next we have Adam, but his loadout will remain as it is, and the same is true for Emilia, which brings us to Shoji, who will switch out his frag grenade for a gas grenade. This is once again a bit more of a tactical choice. Damage-wise, the frag grenade is definitely superior, but the gas grenade could be very useful to wear enemies down over time to the point where we can stun them. Finally then we have Sniper Teasdale, who will equip our newly acquired chitin plating. With 4 instead of 2 extra health points, this is a clear improvement over the nanofiber vest. Meanwhile, the damage reduction from melee attacks will probably not come into play that much for him. And that's it, that is our squad for this mission. Operative Rosilius is already out in the field, so let us fly over to the United Kingdom now and join him.
EXALT forces spooked one of our field operatives who was attempting to recover new intelligence by hacking an EXALT comm relay. Strike 1 is going in to ensure the operative is covered while decrypting the data from the remaining relays. We have to keep that operative alive if we're going to recover the remaining intel. Objective updated.
Alright, we find ourselves on the grounds of what looks like a military base, unfortunately with quite a bit of distance between our 6-man squad and Rosilius. Now, our objectives for this type of EXALT mission are twofold. First of all, we need to get Rosilius into position close to those 2 marked comm relays so that he can hack them, which EXALT will of course try to prevent. Once both comm arrays have been hacked, we then need to extract our squad or alternatively kill all of the remaining hostiles, and depending on our position on the battlefield and on where those enemies actually are at that time, we will then see what's the best course of action. If possible, we will also once again try to stun an EXALT operative. As you might remember, we failed to do that last time, but there is another achievement tied to it. Now, to start off our first turn here, we will get everyone a bit closer to that building in the middle of the map. Going through there will not only give us a more direct path to Rosilius, but it also looks like there is some good cover available inside, which might give us a strategic advantage. With everyone in position, we switch over to Rosilius on the other side of the map, who will only move a few tiles into full cover and then deploy a battle scanner. To start off this mission, we will only have 2 groups of EXALT agents on the map, and even though we don't reveal any of them here, they might still move through the scanner's radius on one of the next turns. For now though, things remain quiet on EXALT's turn, so let's see what we can find inside of the building. Nothing yet, so let's move Adam in a bit further. Alright, here we have our first group of EXALT agents, 2 standard operatives as well as a sniper. The 2 operatives have moved into cover, the sniper meanwhile has grabbed some high ground, but especially the 2 operatives are in easily flankable positions. Using Andrea, we can move over to the window here, and now we have flanking shots on both of them. However, shooting is not necessarily her strong suit, so instead let's use the needle grenade for the first time. Thanks to her grenadier ability, the grenade will do 4 points of damage as well, and the blast radius is big enough to affect both enemies. Up next, we can then move in our mech trooper Nicholas Mahoney, who I had hoped would be able to get both of the enemies with his flamethrower here, but sadly, as you can see, the second one is just out of reach. But that is still 1 guaranteed kill, so let's take it. Adam meanwhile can finish his turn by dashing into full cover, while Emilia can also move up to flank and hopefully get our second kill here. Her shot connects, but only for 4 points of damage, meaning the enemy is still standing, but luckily we have Shoji who can do something about that. Because of his mayhem ability, suppression will always do 1 point of damage, and the ability will always connect, which means this is another guaranteed kill.
I have him covered.
So that leaves us only with the sniper, but there's not much we can do about him at the moment. Instead, we can put our own sniper George Teasdale into full cover and on overwatch, while Rosilius will not move and stay right where he is. Much to our relief, the sniper then spends his turn simply moving back and forth. He does end up in full cover, but doesn't do any harm to us. On the ground, the second group of EXALT agents then reveals itself, and once again we have 3 of them here, 2 operatives and a medic. Their appearance also triggers a reaction shot from sniper George Teasdale, so let's see if he can find his target. Fantastic, that's 6 points of damage on the agent that eventually moves closest to us. All in all, we now have 4 of them to deal with, but that shouldn't be too difficult. For the sniper inside of the building, we can activate a run and gun with Adam, who then rushes in for 1 or maybe 2 close-range blasts. And it's a good thing we have rapid fire, because the first shot does not get the kill. The second one, however, does, so let's focus on the group outside. Conveniently enough, the 3 of them are clustered so closely together that a rocket from Andrea can barely hit all of them, which is exactly what we'll go with here. This not only kills the already injured agent, but also destroys the cover of the second one, and that makes him a prime target for sniper George Teasdale. Alright, lovely, that's another kill, and after putting Rosilius on overwatch here, we can now focus on that last remaining enemy. And for him, we will once again get Emilia into a flanking position, and this time it is actually impossible for her to not do enough damage, provided of course she hits. And that she does, and that means the first 2 groups of hostiles are defeated. We will have more of them appear, but not until we get close to the comm relays, so we don't really have much to worry about for the time being. And for that reason we can send both Nicholas and Shoji in the general direction of those 2 relays, and while Nicholas dashes, Shoji can reload. On the next turn then, the rest of the group will follow suit. Everyone will slowly but steadily make their way over to that doorway, while Rosilius will once again stay put and not move an inch. And we will now continue with this approach for the next turn as well, and even though this is admittedly a bit of a cheesy approach, it's also the one that drastically improves our survival chances. In this regard, I also think that both types of EXALT missions are actually not too different, since in both of them you will eventually be the one holding a very specific position, while EXALT sends in reinforcement after reinforcement to stop your progress. As you can see, we are now making our way over to the comm relay closest to Rosilius, and since we are only one turn away from having everyone in position, we can finally start moving forward with Mr. Walgal as well. This still doesn't trigger any EXALT reinforcements, but what comes next certainly will.
Affirmative.
Commander, our operative is in position near a comm relay. We just need to activate it to retrieve the missing data. Excellent. You've decrypted a piece of the data, and it looks like EXALT communications were temporarily disrupted by the hack. Now we just need to find the remaining relays.
Alright, so comm relay number 1 is hacked, and that means EXALT will send in reinforcements on the next turn. So let's try to cover as many angles as we can here. As far as I know, it is completely random from where the reinforcements will come in, but needless to say, we want to have 6 overwatchers ready and waiting. And here we are, 2 EXALT agents are dropping in right on top of us. The first one gets immediately obliterated by reaction shots from everyone but Emilia, while Emilia herself can fire at the one that has dropped in right in front of her. Unfortunately, the camera is glitching out a bit here, but she does 5 points of damage, and this now presents us with an excellent opportunity to get one more achievement. First of all, though, we can already send Emilia up ahead to the second comm relay, before we then activate suppression fire with Shoji.
This one is important.
Just like earlier, this does 1 guaranteed point of damage, bringing the agent down to only 1 hit point and making him a prime target for Adam and the Arc Thrower.
Aye, attempting capture. EXALT's forces are willing to resort to such extreme measures to avoid being taken alive?
And there we are, the stun finally succeeds and we unlock the Pain in the Neck achievement, because EXALT agents will not let themselves get stunned or captured. Instead, when such an attempt is successful, they will actually kill themselves. So, with that we are once again out of enemies, which means we can already start moving towards the second comm relay. Rosilius will stay in full cover behind the container here for now. On the next turn he can then move over to the relay. And we have no new reinforcements coming in, so it's time to get Mr. Woggle over to the relay now. However, because we dashed to do that, we can't actually hack it on this turn. This was admittedly a bit of an oversight on my part. Had we moved Rosilius only a few tiles further on the last turn, we could now be one step closer to completion. Be that as it may, this gives us a bit more time to set up our defenses, but we won't do anything crazy here. We'll simply move everyone closer to the relay and then activate overwatches. And there we are again. As expected, we have more EXALT agents dropping in. Once again, however, it's only 2 of them. And the first one immediately gets disposed of thanks to our overwatches, while taking out the second one we'll have to wait until we have hacked the relay.
That's it, Commander. We've decrypted the last of the data. Now we just need to get our operative to the evac point. New objective received.
Alright, our objective has changed, now we need to get out of here. But before we do that, let's send Emilia over here in a position where she can flank and hopefully kill that last remaining operative. Okay, once again she does not do quite enough damage to get the job done here. So let's activate a run and gun with Adam here, and then we can solve this one without wasting ammunition and simply get the kill with the pistol. Alright, now our new objective is to get everyone to the evac zone. However, that is only one of 2 ways to complete the mission. Instead of evacuating, we can also simply kill all of the remaining hostiles, which will then automatically complete the mission. As you can see, we don't have any of those at the moment, but as we finish our turn here, more of them should drop in.
We've got new contacts inbound on Strike 1's position, Commander.
And there we are with another wave of EXALT reinforcements. The first group of 2 here comes down at the opposite end of the map. However, their mission is to take us out, so they will come to us, while a third agent drops down behind us, slightly to the right. The evac zone, meanwhile, is ahead of us, slightly to the left, But to be honest, at least for the moment, I think heading over there is not a good idea. Instead, we can adjust our squad's position ever so slightly, anticipating that we may have 1 or 2 EXALT agents come through the building on one of the next turns, but also moving a bit closer to that one agent who is currently behind us. All in all, there is definitely no need at this point to make a beeline for the evac zone. Taking the calm and collected approach will probably keep us a lot safer.
Let's rock.
On EXALT's turn, the agent closest to us then reveals himself, but only goes on Overwatch, while the other 2 who are also present on the map don't show themselves just yet. Now, apart from maybe using a rocket, we don't really have any means of reliably taking out the agent by the trucks on this turn, so we should definitely get at least a few of our soldiers a bit closer. In order to do so, we need to break the Overwatch though, and for that we'll use Adam and his lightning reflexes. Afterwards, we can then get Shoji into full cover behind the other truck, from where he will lay down suppression fire to keep the enemy from moving. Andrea and Nicholas will come a bit closer as well, but only to activate Overwatch, while George will keep an eye on our left flank and Rosilius will stay in full cover. Pinned down and with enemies closing in, the EXALT agent then goes for the grenade, but at this point 3 points of damage to Shoji are not much of a threat. Over in the warehouse, we then also catch a glimpse of another agent, and EXALT is not done yet.
There's another group of EXALT reinforcements moving into position, Commander.
A second wave of reinforcements has now arrived. A further 2 EXALT agents have dropped down near the extraction zone, and they will very likely approach us very soon as well. For now though, let's stay focused on the one by the trucks, who should be easily taken out by Adam here. Moving on, we'll try to take care of the one inside of the building, and because this guy was not alone when he dropped in, there is actually a chance that another agent is close by, so we are going to send in a shredder rocket, which may or may not hit a second agent as well. In any case, it will do 4 points of damage and destroy this guy's cover. Now, because one of the trucks here is about to blow thanks to the grenade, we also have to move Shoji, so we might as well also send him in for the kill. With a 90% hit chance and a damage bonus from the shredder rocket, this should be doable.
Kill confirmed. I need additional ammo.
And indeed it is, that's 2 agents down, 3 more remain, but we will stick to our rather conservative approach here and simply cover all angles with overwatches. On EXALT's turn, a heavy then shows up in the warehouse and takes aim at Nicholas. And the shot also connects, doing 4 points of damage to our mech trooper, and we definitely do not want to stay out in the open with this guy around, otherwise we might have a rocket coming in on the next turn. Because we are spread fairly wide at the moment, we also don't really have much of an approach to take the heavy out, so I think our best bet at this point is the tactical retreat. Let's get everyone out of the line of fire to keep them safe from a potential rocket, and then we can lie in wait with overwatches if the heavy gets closer. Nicholas, meanwhile, can receive some healing from Emilia. For now, he is doing perfectly fine with his heavy suit of armor, but one more hit could be problematic. And we can see it here, on EXALT's turn the heavy has come closer. The other 2 remaining agents, however, are nowhere to be seen. Now, because the heavy currently has half cover and a wall to protect him, let's get rid of those 2 things, and we can achieve that with a grenade from Andrea. This also does 4 points of damage and the agent is now completely exposed, so we can now send in our fully healed mech trooper and hopefully get him another kill. And there we are, and with that Mahoney actually earns himself another promotion, but for now we definitely have bigger concerns because again 2 more enemies are waiting. And as you can see here, we are leaving the evac zone B for the rest of the mission. I think letting the enemies come to us gives us a bit more of a strategic advantage. The evac zone would be useful if we wanted to end the mission early, but things are going well, so there is no need to do that. On EXALT's turn, then, we have a bit of a familiar scene. Another operative shows up in the warehouse, he once again takes aim at Nicholas, and once again our mech trooper suffers 4 points of damage. In hindsight, it may have not been the smartest move putting him in this position, but now we have to work with it, and we'll do that in the very same way we did earlier, simply by getting Nicholas out of the line of fire and by activating overwatches, waiting for the enemy to get closer. However, at least for now, the agent seems to stay put, but our squad is patient and can simply go on Overwatch again. And this time we have a bit more success. As you can see here, the agent does appear in our line of sight, but he does not trigger any reaction shots, so let's take care of things the old-fashioned way. Since the enemy is flanked, we can start things off with a 90% shot from Shoji here, which hits for 6 points of damage and very importantly also activates holo-targeting. This means that Andrea now has an 84% hit chance, and thanks to her bullet swarm ability she can actually fire twice if that is all she does on this turn. The first shot, however, does not find the target, so let's see if the second one does. Alright, another critical hit, and with that the enemy is down, and I would say we are in a very good position here, so let's simply move up Adam a bit and then we can activate another round of Overwatches. And there we are, the last remaining EXALT agent moves into the very same spot his comrade died in earlier, which also means that we are going with the exact same approach. Shoji once again finds his target for 5 points of damage and the activation of holo-targeting. Andrea meanwhile only has ammunition left for one single shot, so let's see if that one connects. And once again, despite a high hit chance, it does not, but at this point we can move in our sniper George Teasdale, who will hopefully be able to land the killing blow.
And some valuable new intel are safe and sound.
And there we are, we have defeated 15 EXALT agents and have hacked 2 comm relays, and with that our second covert operation of this playthrough has been successfully completed.
We didn't leave anything to chance, and it paid off. Excellent work, Commander.
Back in the base then, we only have the promotion for Nicholas to take care of, so let's get to it. For his ability at captain level, we have the choice between repair servos and expanded storage. Repair servos gives Nicholas 2 hit points of automatic healing at the start of every turn, up to a maximum of 6 hit points per mission. And while this seems very useful, 2 hit points is really not that much, and there are actually quite a few better options available if Nicholas needs healing. For that reason, we are instead going with expanded storage. This not only increases Nicholas's ammo capacity, but it also allows for additional uses of some very useful abilities that he will unlock later on in the playthrough. And yes, while the ammo capacity part of this ability will actually eventually become obsolete due to another Foundry project, I still prefer this ability for those additional uses of some of those other things. Now, since we just completed another covert operation, we also learn a bit more about EXALT, namely that their base is also not on an island country. Additionally, we receive 100 credits as a reward for completing the mission and a panic reduction in the United Kingdom as well, and of course the usual set of comparatively useless EXALT weaponry.
Intel decrypted. Possible EXALT base locations narrowed.
Now after this mission, let's quickly head over to the covert operations screen, where we can see that we have already eliminated 6 countries as potential homes of the EXALT base. That still leaves 10 more, and because we have actually passed into another month, we could now also launch another intel scan, but at least in my experience, launching 2 intel scans so closely after one another usually leads to the second scan not actually finding anything. I am, to be honest, not 100% sure if there is actually some sort of cooldown mechanic in the game, but from previous playthroughs it feels like it's better to have at least a few days between 2 scans. Again, this might be a gut feeling that is completely unfounded, and if that's the case then please let me know in the comments, but for now we will not launch the next scan right away. Instead, we are actually going to make the cut at this point. With another mission under our belt and 2 more achievements unlocked, I think this is a very good point to do so, and there is actually at least 1 more achievement waiting for the next episode. Until then, as always, if you enjoyed this one, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up, and if you want to support me and the work I do on this channel further, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Alternatively, you can of course also check out and maybe pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.